Multivers, Story of a Conqueror. Chapter 6. Alex arrived to save the beauty. Peyton. Jill seethed with anger at the death of her friend, but she forcefully suppressed her emotions. In the current situation, anger would only lead to death. Peyton's demise was a result of his carelessness. In his fear, he ignored his surroundings and focused solely on where she was firing. It was this mistake that cost him his life. Be careful. It's time to decide whether we live or die in this place, Jill said to Terry, her eyes scanning their surroundings. What do you mean? Terry asked, her fear hindering her understanding of Jill's words. I mean, there are 2 of those creatures and 2 of us. 1 for each. It's time to decide if we can escape this place, Jill replied. Now, stay quiet and keep an eye on your surroundings, Jill instructed, handing her spare gun to Terry for self-protection. Terry took the gun from Jill, and both of them stood back to back, waiting for the lickers to attack. The lickers didn't make them wait long. They simultaneously leapt at them from between the benches. Shoot! Jill shouted as a reminder to Terry and began firing. Bang, 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 click. Shit! Jill cursed in anger as her gun ran out of bullets after firing just 3 shots, inflicting no severe damage on the monster attacking her. Bang, 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 bang. Meanwhile, Terry, despite having a fully loaded gun, missed most of her shots. Even the bullet that hit the monster failed to damage it, as it struck its bone armor. Shit! I never expected to die like this, Jill cursed silently, feeling powerless and unable to prevent her imminent death at the hands of the monster. Terry closed her eyes in fear. Boo. Just as they were resigned to their fate, they heard the sound of an explosion coming from the entrance of the church. Bang, 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 bang. Before Jill could comprehend what was happening, the rapid gunshots reached her ears. In the blink of an eye, to her surprise, the monster attacking her had been torn apart into minced meat. Jill stood in a daze, staring at the lifeless creature before her. Just a moment earlier, she had been waiting for death, and now the monster she feared lay dead in front of her. Hey, are you okay? Jill snapped out of her stupor as she felt someone patting her shoulder and calling out to her. Outside the church, Alex and Alice were busy killing zombies when they heard gunshots from inside. They surveyed their surroundings and noticed only a few zombies remained. They exchanged glances. Alice, take care of these. I'll go help the people inside, Alex said to Alice, as the current number of zombies wasn't overwhelming for her to handle alone. Okay, Alice nodded, continuing to dispatch another zombie. Now she'll be okay. Alex erected a barrier around Alice and sprinted towards the church, eliminating any zombies in his path. Bang, bang, bang. As Alex approached the church door, he heard the sound of gunfire and increased his speed to the limit. Seizing the moment, he jumped and kicked the doors, ripping them off their hinges and sending them flying. As the doors soared through the air, Alex witnessed 2 girls standing back to back in the center of the church hall, with 2 lickers leaping towards them from opposite directions. A quick glance revealed the dire situation. While still airborne, he raised his hands, aimed at the exposed brains of the lickers, and opened fire. He enhanced the bullets with his telekinesis, increasing their penetration power. Bang, thump, thud, thud. The doors crashed to the ground, creating a resounding noise. Alex safely landed on the ground, accompanied by the lifeless bodies of the 2 lickers. Phew, that was close. Just a second later, and these 2 would have died, Alex exclaimed, relieved. After dealing with the remaining zombies that had followed him to the church, Alex walked over to the 2 girls. The journalist, still crouching with her hands covering her head, wore a white coat. The other girl, wearing a blue corset and black shorts, gazed in a daze at the dead licker before her. Alex scratched the back of his head, puzzled by their situation. Finally, he decided to try to rouse them. Hey, are you okay? Alex patted Gil's shoulder and addressed her. Jill emerged from her stupor and looked at him. Are you okay? Alex repeated, concerned for her well-being. Yes, I'm okay. Thank you for saving us, Jill said, her eyes filled with gratitude. She realized that if it hadn't been for him, she would have died at the hands of that monster and potentially turned into a zombie. Just the thought made her shudder, so she felt thankful to Alex for rescuing them. It's okay. My name is Alexander Starr. You can call me Alex, he introduced himself. Alex, my name is Jill Valentine. You can call me Jill, she responded, introducing herself in turn. Okay, Jill. Alex nodded and then turned his attention to the journalist, still crouching in fear. Pointing at Terry, he asked Jill, is she okay? Jill followed Alex's hand, observing Terry's condition. She sighed before helping Terry to her feet, and together they walked to the nearest bench, where Jill helped her sit down. Alex joined them shortly after. After seating Jill beside Terry, Alex fetched a water bottle from his storage and handed it to Jill. Here, drink this. Thanks. Jill accepted the water bottle gratefully. Take care of her. And here, take this too. Alex offered Jill a gun. I'm going out to see how my partner is doing. Thank you. Please take care of yourself, Jill replied, taking the gun he offered. With a nod, Alex left the church to check on Alice. He moved at a leisurely pace, as he was shielded by the barrier. Meanwhile, Jill alternated her gaze between his departing figure and the gun in her hand. A smile crept onto her lips as a warm feeling spread through her heart. Chapter 7, Talk. Let's introduce ourselves, Alex said, standing up and capturing the attention of everyone present. Alex and Alice have cleared out all the zombies in this area. Afterwards, he placed a barrier around the church to keep the zombies away. He, Alice, Jill, and Terry sat facing each other in the church hall. With some care from Alex, both girls had started to recover. Observing that they were still feeling down, particularly the journalist, Alex decided to help distract their minds by engaging in conversation. "I'll go first. My name is Alexander Starr, but you can call me Alex." Alex introduced himself. This introduction was mainly for Terry, as he had already introduced himself to Jill earlier. He gestured towards Alice and said, "This is Alice, my wife." Wife. Jill was surprised. She looked between Alex and Alice, feeling a pang in her heart. Terry simply nodded in response. Wife. Alice blushed upon hearing his words but didn't deny it. Alex smiled upon seeing her reaction. He then turned to Jill and Terry and said, "Now it's your turn." Jill nodded and introduced herself. "I'm Jill Valentine. I used to be a member of the STARS Special Police Force. You can call me Jill. Thank you for saving us earlier." Jill once again expressed her gratitude to Alex. "Okay." Alex waved his hand, and they all looked at Terry, who remained silent. "My name is Terry Morales, a journalist. You can call me Terry." Terry spoke briefly before falling silent. Noticing the girl's demeanor, Alex decided to help her. He initiated a conversation, saying, "A journalist, huh? Do you have any goals in life?" Terry looked at Alex upon hearing his question, then glanced at the camera in her hand. She tightened her grip around it and said, I want to document the truth about what's happening in the city and share it with the world." Her voice was initially weak, but it grew louder as she spoke. Seeing that his approach was effective, Alex smiled and continued, "That's a commendable dream you have, and you're in luck because there are two people right in front of you who know the true story of what's happening in the city." "What?" Terry quickly looked at Alex upon hearing him. "You mean you two know the truth behind what's happening in the city?" Jill asked, looking shocked as she glanced between Alex and Alice. Alice remained silent, letting Alex handle the situation himself. Alex looked at Jill and Terry and said, "Yes, Alice and I know what's going on in this city. I'll tell you about it later on our way. Right now, we're a bit short on time. Let's go." After saying this, he left the church, with Alice following behind. Jill and Terry watched him leave before turning to each other. "Do you believe what he said?" Jill asked. "I think it must be true, as I can't see any reason why he would lie to us," Terry replied after some thought. Looking at Jill, she asked, "Are we going to follow them?" Jill didn't answer but stood up and started walking to find Alex. Terry heard her say, "I don't know who he is, but my instincts are telling me to follow him, and I'll trust my gut feeling." Terry heard Jill's words and decided to trust her instincts and follow him. When Jill and Terry stepped outside, they saw Alex and Alice standing next to a black 1967 Ford Mustang, waiting for them. Alex smiled upon seeing the two of them approach. "All right, quickly get inside," Alex said to Jill and Terry, gesturing towards the black Mustang. Alex had created it during the past 2 days, assembling the parts to make this car and storing it. Based on a modified Mustang from his previous life, Alex had created this car with a modern EV powertrain. After all four of them got into the car, Alex left the area and drove the Mustang towards the school where Angela Ashford had taken refuge. Silence filled the car as Alex relished the feeling of driving. He had always desired to have his own car in his previous life. Alice sat in the passenger seat, gazing at Alex's smiling face, while Jill and Terry were in the back seat, also stealing glances at him through the rearview mirror. Enjoying the driving experience, Alex looked at Jill and Terry through the mirror and asked with a smile, "Why are you both silent like dolls? Just ask what you want to ask. You don't need to keep staring at me like that. Otherwise, I might misinterpret your intentions and think you've fallen in love with me." Jill and Terry blushed, originally intending to ask him a question but getting captivated by his smiling face. Blushing, Jill quickly asked, "So, can you tell us what you know about the things happening in the city?" Alex looked at Alice and asked, "Alice, do you want to explain, or should I?" "You can fill in any gaps I might forget." Alice shook her head upon hearing his question and said, "I'll leave it to you, I'll just fill in the gaps." "All right." Alex nodded and fell silent for a moment to gather his thoughts. "Let's start with our identities." Alice used to be an Umbrella employee whose duty was to protect the entrance leading to Umbrella's underground facility located in the Umbrella Villa on the outskirts of the city. She lived there with her fake husband, Spencer, who was also an Umbrella employee. During her time at Umbrella, she discovered that they were conducting research on bioweapons. Alex narrated the events of Resident Evil Part 1 to Jill and Terry, maintaining his composure even when mentioning that Alice and Spencer were pretending to be a couple. Alice had already informed him about her relationship with Spencer, and therefore marriage was entirely devoid of physical affection. Alice had saved her first kiss for Alex. Jill and Terry looked at Alice in shock and surprise after hearing the whole story from Alex. Alice herself felt a mix of emotions, and Alex held her hand in his free hand while steering. As the car filled with a somber atmosphere, Jill suddenly asked, "So, what about you? Where were you during all of this? And how did you and Alice meet?" Chuckling, Alex looked at the curious Jill through the rearview mirror and replied, I was in a state of suspended animation inside the cultivation tank at the Umbrella Surface Experimental Base. As for my past, it's a secret reserved for my close ones. Jill was astonished to hear where he had been. She wanted to ask why he was there but halted upon hearing his last sentence. In the eyes of Jill and Terry, the virus spreading through the city paled in comparison to learning about Alex's past. They sensed that Alice found his history more intriguing than the story they had just heard. This heightened their curiosity, and considering his handsome appearance wouldn't hurt. After injecting himself with the perfect blacklight virus, his DNA underwent a transformative process, making him the most handsome man in the world. This evolution also brought about certain passive effects, such as attracting the opposite sex, gaining quick trust, and people following his advice. Alice had fallen in love with him at first sight due to these passive effects and his actions. The same phenomenon was occurring with Jill and Terry, albeit to a lesser extent since they had only seen his face. If they had seen his physique, their reaction would have been similar to Alice's, love at first sight that no female could resist. It was the most primal response to being attracted to the perfect opposite sex of the same species. Apart from these appearance-related benefits, the perfect blacklight virus had endowed Alex with unlimited potential. His initial physique, spirit, and energy were 10 times that of an average human, without any training. This raised the question of how far he could reach with his limitless potential. Chapter 8, Necessary Information. 10 minutes later, the group arrived at the school where Angie Ashford had taken refuge. As they exited the car, the group gathered in front of the school entrance. While the 3 girls surveyed the surroundings, Alex seized the opportunity to use his psionic powers and assess the internal situation of the school. His assessment revealed that the school was infested with zombie children and zombie dogs. Furthermore, he located Angie Ashford's hiding place, a cabin in the back kitchen of the cafeteria. Opening his eyes, Alex spoke up, "Let's go." But before that, he retrieved 2 Beretta 92 guns from his storage. Both guns were equipped with silencers and had the same extended magazine as his submachine gun. "Here, take these." He handed a gun to Jill and another to Terry. "Where did these come from?" Jill asked, taking the gun from his hand. She was surprised by their sudden appearance. She distinctly remembered his hands being empty, but then, in the next second, 2 guns materialized out of nowhere. "That's a secret," Alex replied, winking at her. Unbeknownst to Alex, his actions deepened Jill's and Terry's mysterious impression of him. They became more curious about him and were captivated by his handsome face. Clap, clap. "Okay, it's not time to be in a daze. Stay alert. This school is filled with zombie children. You need to be prepared. I'm not asking you to actively kill the zombie children. Just focus on protecting yourselves," Alex warned, intending to mentally prepare them for what they would encounter inside the school. Afterward, the group entered the school and found themselves confronted by a group of zombie children in the reception area. Just when Alex thought the girls might be frightened, he was surprised by their actions. Alice and Jill didn't even flinch and immediately began killing the zombie children. Click, 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 click. Alice stood on the right, while Jill stood on the left. Both of them resembled war goddesses, with each bullet fired claiming the life of at least one zombie. These 2 girls were so fierce that they didn't give Alex any opportunity to intervene. They single-handedly annihilated all the zombie children. During this encounter, Alex was not idle. He comforted the frightened reporter who clung to his left arm. Within a minute, the girls had dispatched all the child zombies. Since their guns were equipped with silencers, the group didn't attract any new zombies. Blowing the steam rising from the gun barrel, Alice looked at Alex. Ignoring the trembling reporter beside him, she raised an eyebrow and asked, "How was our performance?" Alice's question piqued Jill's curiosity, and she also looked at Alex with anticipation, completely disregarding Terry like Alice did. "Awesome," Alex said, giving each of them a thumbs up. "Let's go," Alex said once the reporter had calmed down. With Alex leading the group, they left the area and took a route with the lowest chance of encountering zombies to quickly reach Angie Ashford's hiding place. Standing before the little girl, Alex felt a familiar connection, the same one he felt from Alice. He turned his head to look at Alice and noticed that she had the same expression as him. "Are you two like me?" Angie Ashford, who was huddling behind a cabinet in a corner of the room, asked Alex and Alice, sensing a familiarity toward them. "What do you mean?" Jill, who was unaware of the situation, asked. Alex looked at Jill, then turned back to Angie Ashford and nodded. "Yes, little sister. This big sister and I are just like you." He walked in front of Angie and knelt on one knee, patting her head. "Alex, is she too?" Alice asked. "You two are similar, but I'm a little different. What I have is the final product, while what you two have is a work in progress," Alex explained. Jill and Terry needed clarification since they didn't know what the 3 of them were talking about. Jill asked once again, and this time, Alex didn't intend to avoid her question. He began explaining. "Do you remember what I told you in the car about Umbrella's original intention in developing the T-virus?" Alex asked the 2. "Yes, I remember. It was to evolve human DNA," Jill replied. "Yes, the T-virus was developed with the goal of evolving human DNA. But after various experiments, Umbrella found that it was unsafe for everyone since it didn't match their DNA. The zombies around us are the result of the T-virus not matching their DNA. However, there are exceptions, including Alice and Angie. Due to her origin, Alice is a perfect match for the T-virus, which allowed her to survive the Umbrella experiments. As for Angie, her father specially modified the T-virus in her body to match her DNA. If I recall correctly, she had a leg problem from birth that resulted in her inability to walk. To treat this condition, her father developed a new version of the T-virus that matched her DNA and later injected it into her. And then there's me. What I have in my body is not only the T-virus but also a secondary virus called the perfect blacklight virus. This perfect blacklight virus can assimilate any gene, evolving it to perfection. It's because of this secondary virus that I survived after being injected with a T-virus during the Umbrella experiment. After the T-virus evolved to perfection, I also awakened psionic abilities. Alex demonstrated his telekinesis, making everything in the room, including the girls and himself, float in the air. Then, looking at Jill, he said, "This is also the answer to your previous question that you asked before we entered the school. At last, the three of us have the T-virus in our bodies. We have a special connection with each other, hence the earlier conversation," Alex concluded, providing everyone with the necessary information. Chapter 9, Deal with Dr. Ashford. "So, Angie, how about you come with us? I'll take you to meet your father," Alex said, kneeling on one knee to be at the same level as the little girl. Angie's eyes brightened upon hearing his words. She looked back at him with expectant eyes and asked, "Big brother, will you really take me to meet my father?" "Of course. You don't know this, but your father has been trying to find a way to rescue you from this city. But the people from Umbrella have been causing him trouble. When I found out about it, I quickly came here to save you," Alex told her, gently patting her head. Angie nodded in understanding but still had some reservations. "So," she asked, "Big brother, can you contact my father? I want to talk to him." "Of course," Alex agreed to her request. Next, Alex used his arc of embodiment magic to create a smartphone that appeared in his hand. "Wow. Big brother, where did this phone come from? Is this also one of your powers?" Angie asked in surprise, seeing the sudden appearance of the smartphone in Alex's hand. "Yes, little sister. This is also one of my powers." "Now, tell me your father's phone number so that I can call him," Alex said, patting her head. "Okay, my father's phone number is..." After getting Dr. Ashford's number from Angie, Alex made the call. A few seconds later, the call connected, and the ringtone from the other side sounded from the smartphone speaker. Ring, ring, ring. After 3 rings, the other party picked up the call, and the voice of a middle-aged man came from the other side. "Hello, who is this?" "Dad, it's me, Angie." The moment Angie heard the voice, she identified it as her father's and shouted. Seeing the excited look on the little girl's face, Alex handed the smartphone to her so she could talk to her father. While Alex was communicating with Angie, the three of them, Alice, Jill, and Terry, were also watching and having their own conversation. "Is it just me, or do you also feel like the communication between Alex and Angie is like a bad wolf trying to persuade Little Red Riding Hood to come with him?" Terry asked the other two, tilting her head. "Huh?" Both Jill and Alice were a little surprised by Terry's question. But as they tried to compare the scenario described by Terry with the situation in front of them, they surprisingly found that the situation indeed resembled what Terry had just described. Now I want to see Alex's expression when he finds out we are comparing him to a wolf," Alice laughed, imagining Alex's expression. Jill and Terry also tried to imagine Alex's expression at that moment and giggled. Alex, who overheard them laughing and giggling, had a question mark above his head. What are those three laughing about? Are they telling jokes to each other in the middle of an apocalyptic city? Alex didn't know what to make of their behavior. He just shook his head and returned his focus to Angie, who was happily talking with her father. If Alex knew that the girls were imagining him as a bad wolf trying to trick Little Red Riding Hood, he would be so angry that he would scold each of them until they understood the gravity of the situation. "Hey, Alice, can you tell me what your relationship with Alex is?" Jill asked, trying to know more about Alex's origin and the depth of their relationship, and if there was any possibility for her to enter. After being rescued by him at the church just a few seconds away from meeting death, Jill had already developed deep gratitude in her heart towards Alex. Later, this gratitude started to change into liking and love as she interacted with him. The same is true for Terry. She had also fallen in love with Alex after he took care of her when she was at her weakest. The earlier competition between her and Alice at the school reception was also proposed by her, with the goal of impressing Alex. Now, she wants to be good friends with Alice so that she can also be a part of their family in the future. While the girls were talking about their own things, Alex had also talked with Dr. Ashford and reached a deal. According to the agreement they reached, Alex would take care of Angie, and Dr. Ashford would guide them to a helicopter that would be their ride to escape the city. Dr. Ashford felt relieved after making the deal with Alex. Angie was his only family member left in this world and the embodiment of the love between him and his late wife, who passed away while giving birth to their daughter. Just as Dr. Ashford was feeling relieved, he heard a rush of footsteps outside his tent. Hearing the rushing footsteps, a bad feeling arose in his heart. Then, As he saw the person who entered his tent followed by a group of soldiers, the bad feeling in Dr. Ashford's heart reached another level, and he finally knew that his end was near. At this moment, the only thing that was going through his mind was praying to God, hoping that his daughter would be safe following that person. Even though Dr. Ashford had already readied himself in his heart, he didn't show any flaw on the surface and with an angry expression questioned the other person. "Major Kane, what do you think you are doing barging into my tent with all these armed personnel? Do you think just because you got a little bit of power, you can be unruly and no one will stand against you?" "Yes, you heard it right." The one who entered Dr. Ashford's tent with such a fanfare is none other than our lovely cannon fodder villain boss of the second movie. The one who died a miserable death at the hands of zombies and didn't even have the qualification to get 10 minutes of screen time. The weakest villain boss in the entire Resident Evil movie series. Major Kane felt his face getting hot when he heard Dr. Ashford's words. It was true that he had become inflated by gaining power, but it was still the first time someone had said this to his face after he came into power. At this moment, Major Kane was raging in anger in his heart and decided to teach the doctor in front of him an uncomfortable lesson. "Dr. Ashford, don't think that no one knows about your secret actions. Your every action has never been hidden from Umbrella's eyes. Your actions of hacking into the Umbrella network and using it to check the situation inside Raccoon City have already broken many company rules. So, I am here to arrest you for violating the company rules. Guards, go and arrest Mr. Ashford." Major Kane felt a sense of accomplishment after ordering the guards. "Sir, you need to see this." Just as Major Kane was lost in his thoughts, a tech expert from Umbrella came next to him with a tablet in hand, playing a video on its screen. Major Kane recognized the man as the one he ordered to find information about the people Dr. Ashford had come in contact with. It was also fortunate for Major Kane that he ordered people to monitor Dr. Ashford's phone, etc., and came to know about Alex and others' existence. "Sir, these are the people identified as the ones who just called Dr. Ashford," the tech expert said and played the video. The video was from one of the CCTV cameras in Raccoon City that happened to record Alex and Alice's fight against the zombies near the church. As the video played on the screen, corresponding information about the people in the video also appeared in one corner. Then, as the screen showed Alex's face, the tech expert said, "Sir, this man is a problem. There is no information about him in the database, and he is suspected to have supernatural powers." Major Kane's eyes brightened when he saw the sudden disappearance and appearance of the bike and guns respectively in the video. The next fight between Alex, Alice, and zombies made Major Kane even more excited. Major Kane's smile brightened after seeing the video, and he quickly ordered the tech expert next to him to make arrangements as he decided to personally capture this group of people, just to increase his own value in the eyes of Umbrella's higher-ups. He didn't even inform his superiors to make sure nothing went wrong. As for Dr. Ashford, who had a worried expression on his face, Major Kane had already decided his fate. 10 minutes later, a helicopter containing Dr. Ashford, Major Kane, and other people entered the city, moving towards the place where Dr. Ashford had promised to wait for Alex and the others. Chapter 10, First Achievement. 200 meters below Raccoon City lies the hive base of the Umbrella Company, serving as the origin of the entire Resident Evil movie series. The entire hive has been shut down due to an accident that occurred a few days ago. An Umbrella employee named Spencer deliberately released the T-virus in the facility, resulting in the Red Queen sealing all exits and killing all living beings in the hive. Having made a deal with Dr. Ashford, Alex remembered something important and decided to take care of it before leaving the school to meet the doctor at the designated place. He asked the girls to wait for him in the school and use the Arc of Embodiment magic to teleport to the room where the mainframe of the Red Queen was located. Before arriving, Alex had already checked the condition of the hive and confirmed whether the Red Queen mainframe was still there. Alex arrived at this place only after ensuring that the mainframe had yet to be moved. Upon appearing in the mainframe room, Alex wasted no time, not giving the Red Queen a chance to react. He used his telekinesis to lift the entire mainframe assembly off the floor and store it away. As soon as Alex stored the Red Queen mainframe, he received a notification from his system. Curious, he opened the system panel and found a notification from the achievement option. Upon opening it, the following message appeared in his mind. Ding! Congratulations, host, on obtaining a special existence of the Resident Evil universe named Red Queen Artificial Intelligence. Acquired 100% proficiency in programming and archive magic from Fairy Tale. With this information, 2 balls of energy appeared in Alex's consciousness. Seeing the reward and understanding that he didn't have much time to waste, as a nuclear missile would be coming to the city shortly, he quickly took the initiative to integrate both balls of energy into his soul, one after another. The first one Alex integrated was the archive magic. Under the system's operation, the integration process ended in just 2 seconds. After the integration process ended, Alex opened his eyes with a flash of light. According to the information he received after integration, this magic is from the Fairy Tale universe. However, it has been modified by the system. The primary application of archive magic is the ability to instantly access and recall stored information. This allows the user to retrieve knowledge on various subjects, such as history, languages, magic spells, and opponents' weaknesses. By utilizing archive magic, the user can rapidly analyze and process information, making them highly effective in combat situations and battles of wits. Moreover, archive magic can also be utilized to share information with others. The user can project the stored information to display for others to see, effectively transmitting knowledge or relaying essential details to their teammates. After being modified by the system, it can now interact with digital archives, artificial intelligence, or augmented reality systems. After digesting how to use archive magic, Alex started the following integration process, integrating the knowledge of 100% proficiency and programming. Unlike its simple name, the knowledge it brings to Alex is several times larger than archive magic. Knowledge under 100% proficiency and programming is not limited to programming itself but covers a broad range of knowledge and concepts. It includes not only programming languages such as Python, Java, C++, JavaScript, and more but also knowledge and skills related to algorithms and data structures, object-oriented programming, web development, databases, debugging and testing skills, APIs and web services, cybersecurity, software architecture, problem-solving and logical thinking, data analysis and manipulation, mobile app development, and many more. Even with the help of the system and increased comprehension speed from archive magic, it still took Alex half a minute to complete the integration of all this knowledge and skills under 100% proficiency and programming. Then he left the place with the help of the archive embodiment. Reappearing in the back kitchen of the school cafeteria, Alex found Alice, Jill, and Terry standing together as they surrounded Agni, looking at the thing the little girl was holding in her hands, an open metal box. Seeing this scene, Alex was confused and asked them directly as he walked toward them, "What are you guys doing?" The girls turned towards him upon hearing his voice. They were surprised and happy to find that he had returned. "Alex, when did you arrive? Is your business finished?" Alice took the initiative and asked. Walking next to Alice, Alex hugged her waist with one hand and said, "I just came back, and the business is also done." "So, what are you guys doing?" Surrounding little Angie. Alex patted Angie's little head and looked at the metal box in her hand. It was only now that Alex saw the contents of the metal box. It contained multiple vials with a double helix pattern, containing blue and green fluid. Seeing the box's contents, Alex quickly remembered that Angie was carrying the antivirus of the T-virus with her, which he had overlooked. But now that he sees it, the situation is slightly different from the movie story he remembers. He glanced at the content of the metal box in Angie's hand and confirmed that the little girl was carrying the antivirus and the original T-virus. T-virus and its antivirus. Alex subconsciously said it out loud. The four girls looked at Alex simultaneously in surprise upon hearing his words. Why four girls? Because except for Angie, who is naturally a 12-year-old girl, none of the other three girls have stepped into adulthood, which Alex can sense as a natural instinct after being improved by both the T-virus and the perfect blacklight virus. "So, you also recognized it?" Alice said, not surprised that he could recognize it at a glance. She would be surprised if he did not recognize them. I remember seeing them." Alex spoke the truth as he had seen both the T-virus and its antivirus multiple times in the movies. After releasing Alice's waist, Alex patted Angie's head and said, "Okay, now close the box and keep it safe. Time is running out. We must quickly meet with Dr. Ashford at the promised location." "Okay," said Alice, Jill, Terry, and Angie at the same time. Being urged by Alex, everyone started moving, and this time Alex took the lead in clearing the zombies that stood in their way. They quickly left the school, got in Alex's car, and drove to where they promised to meet with Dr. Ashford. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.